looks great. I cannot wait to do this. I get the one amazing non-Capcom version of a Disney game, basically. As Capcom had the North American license to all Disney games. So this one is the PAL game. PAL only. AKA not Capcom quality. But it is Hudson Soft, which is one of my faves. I got SC here to do the comms for me while I delve into focus mode. So I'm going to go radio silent for the most part, and we're going to kick it off. So thanks for being here, SC, and I'm leaving it to you, man.
Alright, ready whenever you are.
3, 2, 1.
Alright,
go.
so welcome to Beauty and the Beast. The first thing you're going to notice is that Tyrael is going to tank damage from pretty much everything. That's because there's like some delays to certain animations. Going to tank damage from jumping pretty much everything. It's actually slow. That's because there's like some delays to certain animations in this game. So another thing you're going to see is a bunch of rats. It's actually slow. It is trying to avoid those because certain enemies in this game will latch onto you. And you have to like struggle to get free from them, and that wastes a bunch of time every time it happens. Certain enemies in this game will latch onto you. Somewhat risky drops to get to like spikes that will save about 2 to 3 seconds in the stage. Another thing you're going to notice is he's taking hits, but the hits counter isn't going down. That's because each of those roses count for more than one hit. Another thing you're going to notice, so he's not going to be worried very much about his health until it gets down to like 2 roses. So he's not going to be worried very much about his health until it gets down to 2 roses, and especially 1 rose. Here, the biggest time save is you'll notice that just trying to jump to the next level without climbing any stairs, but he doesn't do it too soon because you might miss a jump, because he goes faster downstairs than going up the stairs. Now, usually these levels can be a little labyrinthine. Like you'll see a magnifying glass flying around, which is supposed to be a way to show you where to go, but Tyrael already knows exactly where he's going for all of these stages, so that's not going to be important whatsoever. Now, this is a bit of a trolling boss fight with the Griffin Twins. Each of them will take 2 hits. If he misses a cycle, it can take 3 cycles, 4 cycles. Oh, that's an unfortunate miss. But he gets through all the same. Well done. Now, this is one of the levels where it's going to be very important for him to keep track of health. And as you can see, Beast is capable of climbing up certain surfaces, and he can also ledge grab. But it's sometimes a little picky about when he can do that, so his positioning for both of those has to be somewhat precise, and that becomes more of an issue with the later stages. Now, the third candle in the group of popping candles for the second group, it'll sometimes hit you and eat your jump inputs if you're not ready, and that can cause you to fall down one of these platforms and end up back at the start of the level. Unfortunately, that has not happened. And later on in the stage, I mentioned before that he has more health than it looks like he has. However, there are going to be some suits of armor later on in the stage where there's a halberd that swings down as you pass it. That is a one-hit kill. So, regardless of his health, he is going to be careful to not get hit by any of those. We're getting very close to the end of this stage. Making a couple more jumps. Excellent. Now, this boss is the Teapot Knights, which isn't too bad. Your health pool is bigger than the Knights, so at first he's going to go over to the teapot and load up on ammo, because you can't defeat this boss otherwise. And And now it's a war of attrition at this point. He's going to just spam the fire as much as he can. There is a chance that the Teapot Knight will hit him right there and turn him around, and he has to correct himself. Otherwise, he can lose a couple cycles and lose a bit of time on that fight. But that was pretty well done. Now, this level is very simple. He's just, well, the first part is anyway. Keep holding right until he gets to a bridge that will collapse, and then continue holding right, and that'll cause him to fall into a cave, which leads to the next stage. Now, anytime you see spikes, not the ones that are falling or on the floor, those are also one-hit kills, and there are going to be a couple of precise jumps where those can be a bit of an issue. There are also a bunch of geysers in this stage, and on top of damaging you when they shoot something out, they also count as pits, so you can fall into those if you're not careful. And this is one of the segments where you have to be careful not to touch spikes. Sometimes the bats can be really trolly in this area, but he needs to make his way past these geysers. Now, eventually in the stage, there's going to be a new obstacle, which is falling rocks. And those are going to be a major concern for this, because sometimes they're placed just right, where they'll hit you when you're trying to jump and eat your jump input. And that can cause him to fall into the spikes. So, yet another thing to be careful about in this stage. And aside from that, they can also, like even in spite of your pool of health, they can really eat away at your hit points. So if he ends up taking too many hits from rocks, he will have to be very careful in the latter part of the stage to not die before he reaches the exit. Rock fall he gets. I would say something, but I don't want to jinx it. The name of the game here is ledge grabs. Now, some of these jumps are going to be pretty tight, and you'll see he has to kind of course correct when making some of these jumps. Now, there is a long jump with a turning back grab that he has to make, which is far and away the toughest jump on the stage. Oh, and that's another thing, is sometimes you'll notice that there's a bit of a turning animation when you have to, oh no, these bats are being really trolly. Okay, past that at least. Now when he gets to the final jump, which is a jump that he needs to make, if he misses it, he would drop down and there would be two bats and a wolf in it, but fortunately he's beyond that. Now this stage, we get introduced to an old school gaming staple of ice physics. He can end up sliding forward half of a tile when he lands, and the thing is, when you're sliding, you can't jump. So he has to wait for that animation to finish, and then he can make the next jump. Unfortunately, quite experienced in this, no problem so far. Now, the wolf looks like a simple fight, but there's actually a very particular timing that he's using to get this wolf into this pattern. If you don't do that right, the wolf will disappear and reappear, and that causes a time loss. This stage is modeled after the snowball fight scene from the movie. Now, he cannot hold left to scroll the screen at the start, because there are 2 points where he catches snowballs. And one of them is at the far right. So it's possible to make the beginning of this completely unwinnable, because Bell will just throw them over your head, and if you drop 3 snowballs, level's over, you gotta restart. And I know what some of you are thinking. Yes, that is supposed to be Bell. At least the cloak part looks like Bell. And this has been no problem whatsoever for Tyrael so far. It is okay to just hold left until Bell stops moving. It's only really at the beginning of the stage where you can lock yourself out and not be able to catch snowballs from a certain point. But beyond that, it's just a waiting game and making sure that you don't drop any of these snowballs. Oh no, SteamX. I'm not going to be able to unsee Bell as the Hamburglar now. So, this level is extremely straightforward. I cannot say that about what comes after this. I won't get ahead of myself. And that will do it for the snowball fight. So, welcome to this labyrinth. They call it a library. It's really just a giant mess of a maze if you're playing this casually. This will really just come down to memorization, because there's only one way that you can get through this library. If you're playing casually, this is just a nightmare to get through. Now, there is one really picky jump that Tyrael has to go through. It requires that you jump at an exact distance to grab the ledge. Otherwise, if you're a little past it or a little under it, you'll miss, and you'll just have to keep retrying that jump over and over. Now, it's not just a matter of jumping as far as you can, because, oh no. Yep, that's the one. It's not just jumping as far as you can, you actually have to gauge it for the ledge grab. There we go. And Tyrael is not going to care at all about these flying book enemies and just tank everything. Now, as for the boss of the stage, when we eventually get there, the boss is going to be a gargoyle, and Tyrael has to sort of lead the boss in a way in order to get through the fight as quickly as possible. Before then, though, it's just a matter of making sure you just not fall into any of these like sections where the hand railing is gone. There's the gargoyle. Alright, so for this boss, he has to like lead it to the left while doing these jumping punches. That way, like instead of standing still and fighting the boss, you can lead the gargoyle toward the exit. Nicely done. now, this is ultimately the final stage. There are going to be some moving platforms, which, as soon as they're moving the direction that you want them to go, oh right, there's going to be a lot of lightning in this stage, and those black and white patterns on the wall that you see can become electrified and damage him. Fortunately, the game remembers, like, what direction you're jumping, what velocity you're at, so he can just tank his way through those while still making all of the jumps. So once the platform's moving the direction that he wants to go, he can jump and it'll add to the momentum of his jump. So he doesn't have to wait on the ledges as long to get where he wants to go. Now there's one last jump in this stage, which is, regardless of whether you're speedrunning this game or whether you're playing it casually, this is a jump you have to make. And it's nearly pixel perfect. Oh, he got it! So you have to jump from there and grab that ledge to get to the exit, and he nailed it on the first try. So if he would have fallen, you would land in an area that's before where the level starts, so it's a massive time loss. This part is relatively simple though, he's just jumping past these LeFou looking guys, taking damage where he can, and it all leads up to the final confrontation with Gaston. Okay, final stage. So, if you've ever played Ghostbusters on the NES and gotten to the stair portion, sort of like that. Gaston will chase after you and try to punch you. If you get too far away, he'll shoot arrows at you. You're basically just racing him to the top. Now, one thing he's doing is to prevent the turning animation, he hits jump and then hits the opposite direction. So he does the turn in mid-air, and that allows him to get much further ahead of Gaston and position him properly for what happens at the top of this sequence. So what he's going to do is, once he gets to the top, and he is just leaving Gaston in the dust right now, so he'll get Gaston caught up eventually, and then lead him over toward the left side of the screen. Once he's there, you have to punch Gaston off the top of the stage, and then there's a little bit of a delay, the screen fades, and that's when time is. Gaston firing an arrow, that's unfortunate. Oh, he's got him in position. Time is coming up soon. There it is, nicely done.
Awesome sauce. Not bad. 30 seconds off of the world record, probably mostly from that silly fall on that very tricky library jump. But yeah, this is the rare Disney gem that was not done by Capcom. This is what Europe got, or the PAL region. But a lot of fun. I'm happy with the run. Glad we didn't hold anyone up after us. Stay tuned for Toad. I'm sure they're about to crush Little Mermaid. RGL, thank you so much for having me. I'll see you again at, well, just before 3 a.m. this morning, followed by my good friend SC here who was on comms. So SC, thank you so much for doing the comms. It allowed me to focus a little more than I would have otherwise. And what an absolute blast. So, thank you all again.
Oh,
don't forget to feed the kids.
And
thanks for the GGs. Absolutely, my friend. I will be doing lots of coffee things until then so we can stay up late. But thank you all.